that the accused was also using a pressure cooker to boil the body parts and hide the smell. And the police have also found a tree cutter in the hall of the very apartment. Now, let me break down the shocking details of this gruesome Mumbai murder that we have at our hands. The gory details are now emerging, and this is what they suggest. First detail, 30 body parts have been recovered from the flat of the accused that both were renting out, the 56-year-old accused and his 32-year-old partner. We also understand that the body parts were found in 3 buckets that were filled with blood, and these buckets were lying in the kitchen of that apartment. We're also being told that the accused used to boil the body parts in a pressure cooker. Remember the foul smell that the neighbors also began complaining about. In order to actually do away with that smell, he decided to go ahead and chop the body into pieces and later boil those parts in a pressure cooker. We also are given to understand there was a tree cutter that was lying in the flat's living room that's been found by the police. That's another detail that's emerging. Also, black plastic was all over the bed. Possibly he used the bed to chop off the body into pieces. We're also understanding that the foul smell was emerging from inside the apartment because it's only for so many days that you can keep a dead body like that. Boiling the body really doesn't really help. We also are given to understand that the neighbors began complaining of this, and the police in fact is mentioning that the murder might just have taken place 2 to 3 days ago. Let's first look at the reactions that we've got for our viewers.
एक न्यू इंफॉर्मेशन आई थी कि एक घर से बदबू आ रही है, तो मौके पे पुलिस ने आके यहाँ पे दरवाजा खोला तो एक लाश मिली है जिसमें उसके पीसेस किए गए मिले हैं। इसमें जो लिव इन रिलेशन में कपल था जो कि बंदा है मनोज साहनी करके और उसकी वाइफ थी वह सरस्वती वैद्य करके। सरस्वती वैद्य की उसने हत्या की है और उसने उसका डिस्पोज ऑफ करने के लिए उसका पीसेस करने का ट्राई किया है, ऐसा प्राइमरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन में निष्पन्न हुआ है। अभी ये नयनगर पुलिस स्टेशन में इसके ऊपर गुना दाखिल करने की प्रक्रिया चालू है। आगे के इन्वेस्टिगेशन में जो भी क्यों किया गया, मोटिव क्या था, इंटेंशन क्या था, इसके बारे में इन्वेस्टिगेशन में बात पता चले।
A gruesome case has been reported from Mira Road that of a 32-year-old woman being chopped into several pieces. We're right here. This was a residence from where cops recovered say more than 13 body parts last night. In fact, the matter was reported by neighbors who said that they would feel a stench since the last 2-3 days. In fact, they've also said that these people would not really speak to anyone. We have one of the neighbors with us. We'd speak to him and understand as to what really happened. Were you the first complainant in this case?
मैंने फर्स्ट टाइम इंटीमेट किया था, मतलब मेरे को स्मेल आई थी तो मुझे ऐसा लगा था कि हाँ कुछ इश्यूज है इधर, लेकिन मुझे लगा नॉर्मली कोई माउस उस चूहा मर गया रहेगा तो उसकी स्मेल आ रही, स्टिंग आ रही है, लेकिन 2 दिन कंटिन्यू आ रही थी। वो कैसे आ रही थी? आफ्टरनून और नाइट में आती थी, मॉर्निंग और इवनिंग में नहीं आती थी। किचन में बाल्टियों में सब रखा था चॉप करके, लेकिन कुछ रिकग्नाइज नहीं हो रहा था कि क्या पार्ट बॉडी का है, क्योंकि उसने इतना मतलब उसको डिसमेंटल कर दिया था। खाली एक थाइस दिख रहा था जो शायद थाइस था कि नहीं था, लेकिन वो बाल्टी में से रखा था तो लग रहा था थाइस है वो। और लेडी का बाल कट करके रखा था, उसने छोटी बना के कट करके रखा था वो।
सर बताइए कि क्या हुआ था, आप लोग ने कैसे ये जो मामला है वो रिपोर्ट किया था?
और रिपोर्ट मेरे सामने वालों ने किया क्योंकि फ्लैट उनका बिल्कुल स्ट्रेट अभी सामने पड़ता है। मेरा जस्ट बाजू वाला है, जस्ट नेक्स्ट टू मेरा 703 उनका 704। तो उसमें क्या हुआ कि हम लोग नॉर्मली रूटीन के अकॉर्डिंग सुबह मॉर्निंग में उठते हैं। उठने के बाद हम लोग आइडेंटिफाई किए कि बाथरूम में स्मेल आई, तो हमने सोचा कि कुछ सफाई का काम चल रहा है इसलिए बदबू आ रही होगी, हमने इग्नोर किया। फिर विंडो से भी आई। 3:30 और 3 PM के अप्रॉक्स सामने वाला जो हमारे नेबर हैं उनका बेटा वापस आया, उन्होंने बोला कि स्मेल आ रही बहुत ज़्यादा। उसने उनको कंप्लेंट किया सामने वाले को, तो उन्होंने बोला नहीं आप अभी चेक करो। तो व्हाट ही साइड कि मैं अभी जा रहा हूँ, मैं रात में आऊँगा फिर चेक करूँगा। तो लेकिन उनको बिलीव नहीं हुआ क्योंकि वो अंदर स्प्रे का कुछ आवाज़ आया, इन्होंने बाहर से सुना, तो उन्होंने शायद आगे कंप्लेंट किया। बिल्डर आया, बिल्डर के बाद ब्रोकर आया, ब्रोकर ने फिर कॉप्स को इन्फॉर्म किया, फिर उन्होंने ताला वाला तोड़ा, फिर अंदर आइडेंटिफाइड हुआ कि अंदर लाश पड़ी है। मतलब लाश तो थी नहीं, वो डिपोर्ट मतलब हो गया था, पूरा कोलैप्स कर दिया था पूरा पीसेज में, ऑल दैट। बोल रहे थे कि बाथरूम में रखा था।
Let me now bring in my colleague Yesha Kotak, who's joining us from the Nayanagar Police Station in Mumbai. Yesha, remember, has bbeen following this story from the very beginning. Yesha, now that we learned that the accused is in police custody, how soon can we expect that the questioning can begin and his statement can be put out before the media?
So in fact, now that the accused is in police custody, he's been granted police custody until June 16.
Okay.
So cops will begin investigation anytime now. He was brought in from the court just a while back. Now we've heard that in the earlier part of the investigation, he mentioned about this theory that Saraswati tried to commit suicide, which is why he didn't want to be charged with any cases, which is why he tried to kill her. But that has been, of course, denied by the police here. Now, what goes on to be seen is that with forensic team at their residence, also the chops, that the body parts have been sent to DD hospital. Cops will try to piece together the evidences from both the locations, and that's where they will further go ahead with the investigation. Apart from that, now the questioning of Manoj Sahani will begin at Nayanagar Police Station, where we hope that he'd cooperate with the investigation and give details to cops as to what really transpired a few hours before Saraswati's death on June 4th that led to her murder. Yes.
All right, Yesha, I request you to stay on with us. We have more reactions that are coming in on this gruesome murder that's been reported out of Mumbai. Remember, this is a chilling rerun of what we'd seen in the national capital with the Shraddha Walkar murder case. Let's look at the other reactions that are pouring in, and then we'll go back to my colleague Yesha.
7 जून को नयानगर पुलिस स्टेशन के जुरिडिक्शन में गीता काइजीप करके सोसाइटी है। वहाँ पे 7वें फ्लोर 7वीं मंजिल से एक फ्लैट है। वहाँ से बदबू आने का इंफॉर्मेशन लोकल पुलिस को मिला था। पुलिस स्टेशन के ऑफिसर्स और स्टाफ ने जाके वहाँ पे देखा। वहाँ से बदबू आने की जो इंफॉर्मेशन थी वो कंफर्म की। वहाँ पे लॉक तोड़ के उन्होंने जब एंट्री किया तो किचन में बहुत सारे यूटेंसिल और बकेट में वहाँ पे चॉप किए हुए बॉडी पार्ट्स मिले हैं। उसमें बाद में इन्वेस्टिगेशन में ऐसा रिवील हो चुका था कि एक कपल था, लिव इन रिलेशन में रह रहा था उधर। उनका आइडेंटिफिकेशन हो चुका है। अक्यूज्ड को भी अरेस्ट किया गया। जो डेड बॉडी के पीसेस मिले वो एनालिसिस के लिए हमने जेजे हॉस्पिटल में भेज दिया है।
ऐसे बहुत इनह्यूमन केसेस सामने आ रहे हैं और ऐसा लगता है लोग उससे अच्छा नहीं सीखते जब कोई ऐसा केस होता है और उससे इंस्पायर होके ऐसी चीजें करते हैं। ये एग्जैक्टली वैसा ही केस है और उससे भी ज्यादा ग्रोसम है एक्चुअली जो श्रद्धा का केस था और हमने इस पे सुओ मोटो लिया है। कोर्ट्स में जब बच जाते हैं तो दूसरे लोगों को लगता है ये बहुत इजी है बचना, ऐसा काम करके वो बच सकते हैं। हमें एक तो फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट्स में जाना चाहिए, ऐसे जितने केसेस हैं वो फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट में जाने चाहिए और जल्दी से जल्दी पनिश होना चाहिए और पनिशमेंट भी ऐसी जो डेटरेंट बने आगे आने वाले ऐसे केसेस में।
Let me bring my colleague Yesha back on the broadcast. Yesha, I was just mentioning how this is a chilling rerun of what we'd seen in the Shraddha Walkar murder case. Considering there are obvious comparisons that will be drawn in the case, what is the first inference that the police is picking up? And when it is about trying the accused out, if at all he doesn't go ahead and confide with the police that he in fact has committed the crime, what is the next step before the police? Will they also be assessing the situation, what lay at the hand of Delhi police in the Shraddha case?
So yes, in fact, cops had rightly mentioned that this is actually very similar to Shraddha Walkar case. It could actually be seen that he would have taken some kind of an inspiration from Shraddha Walkar case, which is why he chopped his body into several parts. However, first we speak to Gauri Chabadiya ma'am. She's with us from Women Commission. We speak to her and understand about what they've been able to gather and piece together from cops. Ma'am, बताइए कि आप लोग का जब मीटिंग हुआ पुलिस के साथ तो क्या बातचीत हुई, क्या पता चला, क्या श्रद्धा वालकर से क्या श्रद्धा वालकर केस से कुछ लिंक्स पता चले इस केस के?
वेल ऐसे कि हम इधर पुलिस स्टेशन में आज आए और हमको ऐसे पता चला कि 4 तारीख को ये मर्डर हुआ था। शी वॉज अ ऑर्फन गर्ल और अनफॉर्चुनेटली उसका मर्डर हुआ और जो है कि कल ही पता चला क्योंकि अड़ोस पड़ोस के लोगों को ऐसे पता चला कि कुछ स्मेल आ रहा है तो इमीडिएटली पुलिस गई उधर और सुबह को 5 बजे तक इन्वेस्टिगेशन भी किया। पुलिस ने सिंस द अक्यूज उधर नहीं था so that is why the police put a trap down the building and immediately once the accused came तो अक्यूज को वो लोग ने अरेस्ट किया। पुलिस ने इन्वेस्टिगेशन में ये देखा कि बहुत सारे टुकड़े टुकड़े किए गए थे वो लेडी के, तो पता नहीं चलता था कि कौन सा पीस क्या है, लेकिन उसे पोस्टमार्टम के लिए भेजा गया है। एफआईआर तो मिला मेरे को, लेकिन अभी तक मेरे को अक्यूज का स्टेटमेंट पुलिस ने दिया नहीं है। कि उसने कहा कि इट्स इन प्रोसेस, तो मैंने कहा कि जरूर जैसे ही हो जाए दो, और उसको आज पुलिस कस्टडी में रखा गया है टिल 9th। उसको थाने कोर्ट में लेके गए थे आज। ही इज अरेस्टेड एंड इन द पुलिस स्टेशन। पुलिस अपना काम कर रही है। हम महिला आयोग यही चाहते हैं कि ऐसी दुखद घटना दोबारा नहीं होनी चाहिए, खास करके एक ऑर्फन लेडी है। तो इसके लिए मैं चाहती हूँ कि गवर्नमेंट इसके ऊपर बहुत ही अच्छे कदम उठाए, सेफ्टी के कदम उठाए। आए दिन रेप्स हो रहे हैं। 74 रेप्स हुए थे लास्ट ईयर ये एरिया में, मीरा भाईंदर में, और इस साल 7th रेप हुए हैं। तो मैं चाहती हूँ कि ये टोटली 0 रेप्स होने चाहिए, इधर रेप्स होने नहीं चाहिए। और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा सोसाइटीज़ में अवेयरनेस देनी चाहिए कि हेल्पलाइंस होए जहाँ पे पुलिस या एनजीओज के को वो लोग कांटेक्ट करें, ताकि अलर्ट रहे लेडीज और ऐसी दोबारा ऐसी घटनाएं नहीं होए। यही हम चाहते हैं।
Ma'am, we've seen that there have been several such cases being reported. Like you've mentioned, there was Churni Road case that took place yesterday. Before that, a headless body was found in Uttan. You've also mentioned there have been 74 such rape cases that have been reported from this area. What do you think? How can the safety of women be improved? What is it that's lacking? Is there any kind of system failure that's taking place? What do you think of it?
We have to see that our women are more alert. We have to see that the women learn self-defense, and once they understand the body language of the other person, because many of them are living relations, they are living in living relations, so they have to be very alert. And as soon as they come to know that there is a violence, they should report to the police station, and they should try to see their safety in which way they can do. Even their neighbors should be, and the society should know about it if the lady is not safe, so that the society warns the accused that we will not keep you in this society if you all keep on having such violent situations. So this is what is very important. Wherever they are staying, the place must be also where the society should also be a little bit careful when such cases are there.
So with that, we see that considering there have been various crimes being reported when it comes to against women, there's been obviously a hue and cry with 2 cases being reported. But now we need to see as to where the investigation heads further. Yes.
Thank you so much, Yesha, for bringing us those voices. And with that, we are shifting our focus. We have got some breaking news that we are bringing to our viewers on Nation at 5 as the probe in the Ghaziabad conversion racket is now widened. The cops, in fact, have arrested one accused who's called Abdul Rahman, and the hunt is on to nab the other accused. Remember, the police had mentioned how 2 people are involved in this conversion racket. Shenawaz alias Baddu, who is said to be the mastermind of this racket, hails from Mumbai. Meanwhile, CNN News 18 has also accessed the alleged WhatsApp and chats, Discord chats also, that had in fact taken place between the victim and the accused. We've also been told that the Uttar Pradesh police sources have revealed to News 18 that the accused told the victim that there is only Quran which is the way forward, and hence asked them to go ahead and convert to the religion. And we're getting some more breaking news now. UP police sources have also told News 18 that along with Fortnite, these victims used to play with other multiplayer games which are known as Virulent. And UP police sources have also revealed that the accused used to handpick the kids who used to spend a lot of time playing online games, and in that process also entice them to converting into the religion. The police sources also revealed that the accused Baddu in this case used to tell the victims that if they really convert to the religion, then they would be taken on an all-expense-paid trip to Dubai. Let me bring in my colleague Anshul, who's brought us that specific piece of information on this story. Anshul, we are learning various details. One is the WhatsApp chat, Discord chats between the accused, 2 in this case, and the victims. All these boys that we're talking about, all of them are non-Muslims that we are learning?
So yes, till date, the Ghaziabad police has gotten the information that there were at least 5 victims one of them is a Jain kid, whereas the other 4 are Hindu kids, is what we have been told. And this entire modus operandi is very new, and hence the Ghaziabad police is investigating it from each and every angle. And now in the investigation, it has come out that they used to handpick kids who used to spend a lot of time playing online games. And remember, this entire thing happened during the COVID times, where children got access to more and more online stuff and online games, and they used to handpick children who were spending a lot of time playing games and on other apps as well, because they knew that these kids have an impressionable mind, and their parents are also not looking very sincerely or very aggressively into what they are watching or what content they are consuming, and hence they used to talk to them over the Discord app, because the Discord app is end-to-end encrypted, and whatever chats are shared on that, those chats get deleted after a certain amount of time as well. So there is actually not a lot of trace that is left behind, and hence they used to pick this Discord app specifically to talk to these kids and trying to influence them. And now, what we are also being told at this point in time, that the victim, the complainant, actually spoke to Baddo since January at least 72 times over the phone, and this has been recovered by the police through the CDR records. And also the victims have told the police that he used to tell them that if they convert to Islam, then they will get an all-expense paid trip or holiday to Dubai as well. So all these details are coming out, and this is how they used to lure in young kids into converting into Islam.
Anshul, we will talk further about the modus operandi, but let me actually bring our viewers up to speed with some more breaking news that we are getting on the broadcast. Now, CNN News 18 has spoken exclusively to the Ghaziabad DCP, who in fact has revealed to us that the hunt is still on to nab the mastermind, the alleged mastermind of this entire conversion racket. He's called Shahnawaz, alias Baddu, and the police also mentioned that the raids are currently underway in different parts of the area. My colleague Anshul will be with us, but let's play out that reaction with the DCP at the moment, and then we'll go back to Anshul.
There is a lot of interest growing over the new modus operandi that has been unearthed by the Ghaziabad police, in which kids were actually being converted to Islam through online games and social media apps. To talk more on this, I am joined by Nipun Agarwal. Sir, where has the investigation reached now? And the main accused, Paddu, he's still at large. How close is the Ghaziabad police to nabbing him?
As soon as the FIR was registered, we formed a special team, dedicated team. We had sent it to Thane, Mumbai. Another team was sent to various states to record the statement of the minor converted children. We'll be arresting Baddo very soon.
Sir, how many kids have come up till now? There was a few reports that the number could go up in hundreds. Is that report correct, or what has been found in the investigation till now?
Till now, there are 5 minor converts. One is from Jain community, the other one is, the others are from Hindu community. And regarding the 100 number of converts, we got a call, the Ghaziabad police got a call, and there was a guy who was claiming that there are many converts in Mumbai area. So we have shared this intel with the Mumbai police. That information is still to be verified.
Do you think this entire nexus could go international, sir? Are there international connections in this entire nexus that you have got hold of?
Obviously, we are our digital surveillance team is working on it. We have the mobile phones and the laptops which we have. So our team would be working on it, and there might be some international connection as well.
Let me bring Anshul back on the broadcast. Anshul, we've just heard the DCP there. He speaks about how there can be some international involvement. When I speak to you about the modus operandi behind this entire conversion racket at the behest of getting these kids to play online games and then asking them to convert to a certain religion, what really is that international aspect? Why this entire episode of ferrying them to Dubai is being spoken about?
So yes, the servers of the game Fortnite, basically in the game, the player can actually go ahead and select the server in which he wants to play. And these kids were specifically asked to join the servers that were in the Middle East and somewhere in and around Dubai. So this is what has come up in the investigation. And also what sources have told us is that there could be international connection, as Baddo might have some contacts with extremists in Dubai as well, and that is the reason why the Ghaziabad police is not letting go of any of the angles in this entire investigation. Also, a YouTube channel from Pakistan has also come to the fore. The videos that were uploaded in this YouTube channel were shown to these kids through the Discord app, and they were sent the links and other stuff through Discord so that they could consume that content and become more favorable towards Islam. And also the videos of Zakir Naik were also shown to them so that they know about the good things that is happening in Islam, and they used to tell them that how Islam is the best religion in the world and they should get converted into that. Also the WhatsApp chats that we have accessed, the chats between Nani, the Maulvi who has been arrested by the Ghaziabad police and with the victim. In that chat as well, Nani tells him that if he misses the namaz even once a day, then he is not a real Muslim. So all these kinds of pressure was built on these kids so that they continue to listen to them, and they also continue to follow Islam, and that is how they used to convert these kids. So 5 kids have come to the fore at this point in time, and as the DCP Nikun Agarwal mentioned in our interview that there are inputs that there might be more kids who might have fallen in this entire racket, and the investigation is going on in that as well, whereas information about that is being shared with the Mumbai police at this point in time as well. Right. So yes, there are police of several states that are now looking into the matter, whereas what sources have told us that the central agencies are also looking at the investigation at this point with keeping a very, very close watch in this entire investigation.
But has it been officially handed over to any of the central beat, CBI or ED for that matter, Anshul, or not yet?
Not yet. The investigation is still with the Ghaziabad police, whereas NIA and other central agencies are looking into the investigation, and if they think that there are links that are pan-India or probably international, then only the NIA might register an FIR into this entire matter. Since the investigation is in its very preliminary stage, the central agencies are looking into this matter unofficially, but they are basically looking into what is coming out of the investigation that has been carried out by the Ghaziabad police.
Right. Anshul, thank you so much for all of those inputs. Like I said, it's a developing story. We'll keep an eye on this story that's coming out of Ghaziabad. With that, we're slipping into a very short break right here on Nation at 5 and coming right back with lots more that's in store for you.
It was central government through Solicitor General who submitted that they are willing and ready to do this FIR, and before Honorable Supreme Court could pass any directions, it was already submitted by Solicitor General that on same day both the FIR will be. Our stand since the beginning is that anything which has to happen, which should happen in a legal framework, in a constitutional framework. Whatever the
let me ask Monica Mehrotra, the fact that this has been going on for a month and a half, there are 2 sets of FIRs that have been filed. The wrestlers have given their statements to the Delhi police, and also they've gone and recorded statements from Brijbhushan Sharan and people close to him. The police's contention by way of sources is if there was any material that warranted arrest, and particularly because one of the accusers happens to be a minor, then he would have been arrested by now. The fact that he's not been arrested is indicative that there isn't material enough to show that Brijbhushan Sharan's arrest is warranted. That is what Delhi police sources are claiming.
You think so? Are we all that blind? Let's not get into technicalities, but let me tell you, Zaka, it has been absolutely sinful. It's been sinful and arrogant, or I would say a meek behavior of the tongue-tied sports minister towards the dignity and pride of these wrestlers. I mean, look at the way they've got the laurel for this country. If they are saying something, why is the government so deaf? Why didn't they hear them? It took them so long. They did the protest earlier on a promise that, okay, things will be sorted out and we'll look into it. Nothing happened. Mere lip service. And then they resumed their protest for good 35-40 days, and look how they were treated. They were dragged. They were assaulted by the police personals. Look at the way the stuff was thrown around. Is this the way you treat the honor and dignity of our country?
No,
but
ma'am, what the BJP is saying, again by way of sources, is that, you know, if there is material to show, even an iota of material to show that this man Brijbhushan Sharan did all the things that he is accused of, then arrest would have been automatic, because under POCSO you have to get arrested. That is the law, yes. and there are Supreme Court judgments that back that as well.
And that is what is worrying us. Imagine if a minor has done the complaint. It took the Supreme Court to intervene to get the FIR lodged, Zakaji.
Yeah.
Just imagine if, and they talk about those a law which is amended after Nirbhaya, the fast track code, the in-camera recording, and all those funds and stuff like that. And this is what happened. The new law, POSCO, was enacted. Look what you're doing with it. You can't play around with it.
I also want to inform our viewers,
ground,
and we covered this a moment ago, a couple of hours ago. Our sister channel News 18 Haryana has spoken to the parent of this minor victim in this case, and he has said to News 18 that the initial charges were not something that they were in agreement with. Therefore, the minor has gone back to the magistrate and re-recorded her statement, where we're given to understand that the gravity of the charges against Brijbhushan Sharan are not the same as what it was when she first recorded her statement. He's of course gone on to clarify as to why that's the case. But let me ask Ashwini Nachappa then that. If this is a game of political brinkmanship or one-upmanship, do you believe the government, especially after today's meeting and the assurance from the wrestlers that till 15th they won't do anything, and then the probe report will be filed by the 15th, and then the law will take its own course, do you believe that in this political one-upmanship the centre may have finally prevailed after a month and a half since these protests began?
Well, Zaka, I'm happy that the centre has finally come and, welcomed these wrestlers and actually paid some, dedicated certain amount of time to listen to their grievances, because this could have been done much earlier. Too much time has lapsed. Too many things have transpired. There's so much of speculation right from the beginning. For me, I don't know why even the IOA constituted committee has not brought out the report. It's not been made public. There's too many things, and whether somebody says that the minor has, retracted its statement, whether that is possible legally, once having given that statement, it's really sad that athletes of our country, especially such high-profile athletes, are being treated in this fashion on such grave issues.
All right, before we go across to our full panel that is joining us on Brass Tacks this evening, I want to first go across to Olympic medalist and executive member of the Indian Olympic Association, Yogeshwar Dutt. योगेश्वर जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। अभी पहलवानों का जो आंदोलन वो चल रहा है, उनका कहना ये है कि वो अभी भी जारी है। 15 तारीख तक वो थोड़ा सा विराम ले रहे हैं, उसको सस्पेंड किया जा रहा है, क्योंकि उन्होंने आज भी उनका लंबा चौड़ा मीटिंग चला खेल मंत्री के साथ, 6 घंटे की मीटिंग थी। उसके बाद उन्होंने ये कहा कि 15 तारीख तक उनको आश्वासन दिया गया है कि उस तारीख तक बृजभूषण शरण के खिलाफ कार्रवाई होगी और एक्शन होगी उनके खिलाफ। क्या आप आश्वस्त है कि 15 तारीख तक बृजभूषण शरण के खिलाफ या तो गिरफ्तारी होगी या कोई जो जांच की जो रिपोर्ट है वो फाइल हो जाएगी तब तक?
देखिए, पहली बात तो ये है कि इतनी जल्दी सजा नहीं मिल सकती। पूरी न्यायालय जो प्रक्रिया होती है वो चीज चलेगी। उससे पहले पूरी पुलिस को जांच करनी है और शायद जांच कर भी चुकी होगी और अभी कुछ होगा तो वो जल्दी पूरी कर लेगी। जो आज आप लोगों के माध्यम से मुझे पता लगा है कि 15 तारीख तक का समय दिया है कि भाई जो भी तफ्तीश है, जांच है, इन्वेस्टिगेशन है, वो पूरी करके और पुलिस अपनी रिपोर्ट दायर करेगी। उसके बाद तो न्यायालय का काम है कि क्योंकि बहुत लंबा आपको पता है कि, और आपको क्या सभी को पता है कि कोर्ट कचहरियों का बड़ा लंबा प्रोसीजर होता है। उसमें फास्ट ट्रैक में भी 3 या 6 महीने लगते हैं फास्ट ट्रैक में चलाने के बाद भी। पर मैं ये मानना कि कुश्ती बहुत बुरे दौर से में है आज के टाइम में, और लगभग 4-5 महीने हो चुके हैं इस पहलवानों के प्रोटेस्ट को। तो जल्दी ही इसका कोई रास्ता निकलना चाहिए। और जूनियर बच्चे, जो सब जूनियर बच्चे हैं, वो भी बड़े एक कंफ्यूजन है और एक मानसिक तौर पे बड़े परेशान है सभी, क्योंकि कोई नेशनल नहीं, कुछ भी नहीं, सीधी ट्रायल और डायरेक्ट ट्रायल हो रही है पहलवानों की। तो उसमें थोड़ा
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Griha. Now, in a shocking incident that has emerged out of Brampton in Canada, a video has now come to light which shows a 5-kilometer-long parade with a tableau of Indira Gandhi's assassination in 1984. The parade with the tableau was reportedly held by separatist groups in Canada. The High Commissioner for Canada in India, Cameron McKay, has condemned the incident. In fact, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has also stated that these instances have been happening in Canada and that the government needs to take action against them as it's not good for Indo-Canada relationship. The Congress, in fact, also asked the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to take up this matter with the Canadian authorities.
This float issue used. Let me actually answer it, because I think there's a bigger issue involved. And the bigger issue involved is really the space that Canada has continuously and frankly to us, we are at a loss to understand, other than the requirements of vote bank politics, why anybody would do this. Because if you look at their history, I mean, you would imagine that they learn by the history and they wouldn't like to repeat that history.
Any assassination or murder is a crime in every democratic process or any democratic governance. So something which is an offense cannot be celebrated, and thus all that is happening in Canada falls within the purview of law and order, and the government of the day and the society must act upon it, else it becomes a reflection of that very society where such things are happening.
Let me now bring in my colleague Siddhant Mishra, who's joining us on the broadcast. Siddhant, even though the Canadian envoy to India has called this entire episode as very appalling, but that isn't enough. And the External Affairs Minister has minced no words in saying that you cannot be playing vote bank politics and allowing instances like this, because this is not the first time that anything to do with separatist group or the Khalistan elements have been reported out of Canada.
Well, that's right. And if they're so serious for what has happened, Greha, then the condemnation should come from the government in Canada, not from the High Commissioner's office in India. Point number one. Point number two, that it appears that they were not aware about it. And it is not the case. They are fully aware about the activities of these separatist groups. In fact, Greha, these groups have made hotel in Canada to cancel the dinner event organized for the High Commissioner of India to Canada. These are the same K groups who have been carrying out rallies, multiple protests against the government of India during that Amritpal episode. In fact, the Indian foreign offices were also attacked, vandalized on Canadian soil. Multiple times government of India has flagged off this issue with the government of Canada, but not once, Greha, not once case has been registered, or perhaps anybody from this group has been arrested or prosecuted by the government. So they may be condemning it sitting here on Indian soil. The High Commissioner may be condemning it, but this condemnation doesn't look serious. It's not serious in nature, because it is not coming from the government in Canada, and quite contrary, the situation is on ground, because and the same has been highlighted
Siddhant, I'm really sorry, I'll have to interrupt you there. I'll come back to you. Robindra Sachdev, who's a foreign affairs expert, is also with us on the broadcast at the moment. Mr. Sachdev, do you agree with what my colleague was just presenting, that just a word-of-mouth condemnation isn't enough? And this is not the first instance, although this one was clearly out of the line that has been reported out of Canada, even though Canadian authorities are saying that they condemn it, but it's not really coming in from the administration there or from the government there. It is coming from the envoy here in India.
No, thank you so much. The point is that even if the condemnation comes from higher-ups in Canada, let's say, right, what would that lead to? Okay, probably it will not lead to anything, any action. I think the bigger issue is that, there is some basics to it, right? A permission must have been sought for some kind of whatever, putting up a display and all.
Absolutely.
Now, the point is that the local officials or local authorities are kind of, they are caught unawares also at times, because they don't know what is going to be put up there. And we need not expect, let's say, a local official of a police force, let's say, in any country, let's say, we should not assume that they would know what exactly is that, that have been put up there, what it signifies, etc. So I think the issue is that when it goes beyond the mere condemnations is that the police and law enforcement authorities in Canada have to be sensitized, have to be made aware that whenever some certain organizations, which can be mapped out, the very pro-Pakistani, etc., when they seek permissions for any public gathering or a public event, it should be examined thoroughly before a permission is given.
Yes, absolutely.
To my mind, that would be, that would be some kind of, stoppage to such incidents. And then, of course, on the other hand, the big picture is that, the country would say, of course, everyone is a democracy, but as long as it's within the ambit of law, people are allowed to assemble and put up any placards.
Yes, but Mr. Sachdeva, do you think it is actually going under the ambit of law? Because if we take a look at these two nations, Canada and Australia, there have been open referendums that have been called and allowed, both in Australia and in Canada. There have been, vandalization of temples that have happened. These episodes have come to light from Australia. Similar instances are happening in Canada. This one is really, really horrendous that's come to light. And yet, rather than just putting in lip service, there is nothing being done by the Canadian or Australian authorities with an iron hand. And that's where the problem lies.
No, you're absolutely on the mark, though I think that now some things are being done both in Australia and in Canada, especially, because the Indian government and even the Prime Minister has taken it up at the highest levels, including with the Prime Minister of Australia, a couple of weeks or a month ago. The issue is that, so that's a big picture, but you see, on the ground, the issue is that supposing there is a case of vandalism, sure enough, the local police should find out who did it. But if it's a case of vandalism, as would be anything, what is the fine for it? Maybe $50 fine, or, 1 week in prison or a month in prison, if it's proved and all. So there are different categories of the different kinds of incidents which are happening. Right. So fair enough, for vandalism, you can figure out who did it, lodge a case against them, prosecute them, the local authorities could do that. So that should start happening more and more. Right. Even for the most minor, whatever be the most minor punishment which can be done or prosecuted should be implemented. So that will reduce some of these incidents, because people assume, the ones who are doing it, they assume that, there's nobody out there to check them. So that's one of the physical vandalism kind of things and all. But secondly, as far as holding referendums and all, honestly, I don't know how much any country can help or even the government can help. Right? If the citizens of a country, assuming these guys in Australia are citizens of Australia, I'm assuming, all the ones in Canada are Canadian citizens, right? So what they think, what they talk, what they do, what opinion polling they do, etc., the Canadian government has actually virtually I don't think they have any tool to stop that.
Okay, all right. Point taken, Mr. Rabindra Sachdev. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me also bring in Rashid Alvi of the Congress Party, who is with us on the broadcast. Mr. Alvi, I believe you must have heard parts of the conversation that I was having with Mr. Sachdev. Do you agree that in certain cases, the hands of Canadian or Australian authorities, for that matter, are tied? In these cases, they are really not, able to do much about it, considering these cases have been springing to light time and again. But this one has just gone way off the grid. Mr. Alvi, if you can hear me. I don't think I have that link through with Rashid Alvi. Let me actually bring my colleague Siddhant Mishra back on the broadcast. Siddhant, we have heard expert opinions on what is happening in not just in Canada but also in Australia. The fact that this entire episode of Mr. Jaishankar talking about how the Canadian authorities cannot give in to just vote bank politics. He said that in black and white. How much of that do you think is going to be impacting in this situation?
Well, there is very less impact of whatever India says or perhaps flags off to the government of Canada. Look, there are these 4 countries where this issue is going on. America, Canada, England and Australia. Now, Australia has set the precedent. Australia has started listening to what India is flagging off. And this is a reason, Griha. In fact, the other day I did interview the High Commissioner also. And on record, he said, and in fact, he assured us that that the perpetrators are going to get prosecuted. We are not going to let these elements to use our soil for any sort of violence or vandalism. And that has now become of Australia's state policy. And the same India wants other countries also to implement and to handle these elements in the same manner. In Australia also, there could be some requirement of vote bank politics, but Australian government is not surrendering to these forces. Instead of that, the action is being taken. Police behaves in a strict manner. In fact, Greha, I would like to highlight for this our viewers that on 4th of June there was one referendum event. That particular event has also been cancelled because Australian government has understood now that they are not activists under the garb of democracy, free speech. They are pushing anti-India agendas, and if we as a nation, Australia as a nation, wants to have good relation with India, then we have to stop it. And not only at the center level, but the state level also, law enforcement agencies are working on cases against these separatist groups. So this format can be implemented in Canada or any other country, but the intent of the government, now here the question is intent, because government doesn't want to do anything beyond lip service, because Mr. Trudeau and in fact the other parties are more worried for the vote bank that these people have control over. And this is the reason that the rallies are going on, public meetings are going on. On record, Indians have been beaten up in multiple places during Amritpal Singh's protest. In fact, the police rescued some of the Indians from the crowd and they were taken to a safer place. It is all videographed, but in none of these cases action has been taken by the authorities. So it's just a lip service, Greha. They're not going to do anything because even because they have understood that whenever this will happen, India will lodge complaint with us. We'll say that, okay, we'll do it. We'll issue condemnation. That is a protocol which they follow each time around.
Thank you so much for that, Siddhant. And with that, let's shift our focus. From Canada, we are now talking about Pakistan, and there is trouble mounting for former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan. Pakistan Army's top brass has now decided to try Imran Khan in military court as concrete evidences are now available against the PTI chairperson. The decision was taken in the Formation Commanders Conference, where it was found that Imran Khan incited his party workers against the Pakistan military. Now, according to sources, Imran Khan is likely to be tried under the Army Act, an official secret act, in military courts for the May 9th incident. In fact, sources also suggest that the targets were selected on 8th May at Imran Khan's Zaman Park residence itself. Now, more breaking news pertaining to the same story after News 18 told you that Pakistan Army is mulling to try Imran Khan under the Army Act. Now, Imran Khan has reacted to this information and he said that he's sure that he will be tried in the military courts. He's also slammed the Pakistani Army by saying that if military courts are going to be operational for civilians, it means that there's no end to democracy. There's an end to democracy, I beg your pardon, and also judicial system in Pakistan. Let me take this across to Siddhant, who continues to be with us on the broadcast. Siddhant, trouble mounting for Imran Khan. Imran Khan has now decided to brazen it out. Earlier, he was wanting a dialogue with the army, and now he's saying that it is very, very imperative that, in fact, he is going to be tried under the military courts. And he talks about the death of democracy in Pakistan.
Yes, that's right. Because as far as civilian courts are concerned, the courts which are functional under the constitution of Pakistan, Imran Khan feels that perhaps those courts are the last hope. So the government and army has decided that the only way out to fix Imran Khan is to get all his cases transferred to the military court. So perhaps some of the cases which have been where sections of Army Act and Official Secrets Act have been slapped against Imran Khan, particularly those cases can be tried in military court. And this is the reason that Imran Khan is fearing that he's going to get picked. So he's making these statements inside a courtroom while speaking to journalists that if military courts are going to handle civilian cases, then it's the end of a democracy. Point number one. Yeah. Point number two, he also said that I will fight till last breath, and my appeal to nation is time to stand for your rights. So those are the same lines which Imran Khan has been reiterating from last 3 months. But this time around, with each passing day, situation is getting even more complicated for Imran Khan because his senior leadership has already given up. He doesn't have much of the cadre supporting him. All he has is popularity, but that popularity can only be encashed if elections happen in Pakistan. If elections get delayed, in that case, his popularity will fizzle out, and definitely army and government will, in connivance with each other, are going to fix Imran Khan forever and ever. And Imran has understood it very well. This is the reason now even he talks about having a dialogue. Even Shah Mahmood Qureshi is going to meet him. So many are saying that he could also act as an interlocutor or mediator, because even now Imran Khan wants to go to London or Jeddah or Dubai. He cannot do that because he is in a no flyers list.
Yeah.
So from everywhere, government has cornered him completely. So all he has in his hands is making speeches, making media statements, and also maybe through courts, if he can try to get elections declared in Pakistan, then that would work in favor of Imran Khan. Otherwise, he is going to get cinched.
Right. Siddhant, thank you so much for all of that information. And with that, we are slipping into a very short break on Nation at 5 and coming right back with lots more. Stay tuned.
Brought to you by Usha, the joy of air. LIC, हर पल आपके साथ. And Muthoot Finance Gold Loan. The MG Cluster Blackstone. Drive unstoppable.
अभी और कितने चक्कर लगाने पड़ेंगे सर जी?
आप इतनी सी बात क्यों नहीं समझते सर जी? आप हमारा ध्यान रखो, हम आपका ध्यान रखेंगे। 9501 200 200 ये तो
एंटी करप्शन एक्शन लाइन।
मैडम जी आप बेकार में परेशान हो रहे हो। मैं कराता हूँ ना 2 दिन में आपका काम। आप तो बस चढ़ा देना, घर बैठे आ जाएगा आपका लाइसेंस। आपको ड्राइविंग टेस्ट की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी।
पक्का?
पक्का जी पक्का।
तो आपने एक नंबर लिखिए, जब बन जाएगा तो उस पे कॉल करिएगा। 9501 200 200 एंटी करप्शन एक्शन लाइन।
अगर आपसे भी कोई रिश्वत मांगे तो कॉल करें 9501 200 200। एंटी करप्शन एक्शन लाइन से पिछले 1 साल में अब तक 300 से ज्यादा भ्रष्टाचारी गिरफ्तार हो चुके हैं। पंजाब में रिश्वत लेने वालों की अब खैर नहीं।
पंजाब के लोगों को ये संदेश देना चाहता हूँ, पंजाब को भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त बनाना हमारा वादा ही नहीं, गारंटी है।
दुनिया में कुछ लोग कहते हैं और कुछ लोग करते हैं। जब कहा गया देश में सोलर पावर सफल नहीं हो सकता, तो हमने सुना नहीं, उसे सफल कर दिखाया। कहा देश का सबसे बड़ा पावर प्लांट बनाना इम्पॉसिबल, तो हमने पॉसिबल कर दिया। बोला कोने कोने तक बिजली पहुंचाना किसी के बस की बात नहीं, हमने पहुंचा दी। सवाल उठे एनवायरमेंट फ्रेंडली गैस सब तक कैसे पहुंचेगी? हमने वो भी पहुंचा दी। कहा तो ये भी गया पैकेज फूड बिजनेस हमसे नहीं हो पाएगा, लेकिन हमने कर दिखाया।
देखिए पहली बात तो ये है कि इतनी जल्दी सजा नहीं मिल सकती। पूरी न्यायालय जो प्रक्रिया होती है वो चीज चलेगी। उसे पहले पूरी पुलिस को जांच करनी है, शायद जांच कर भी चुकी होगी और अभी कुछ होगा तो वो जल्दी पूरी कर लेगी। जो आज आप लोगों के माध्यम से मुझे पता लगा है कि 15 तारीख तक का समय दिया है कि भाई जो भी तफ्तीश है, जांच है, इन्वेस्टिगेशन है, वो पूरी करके और पुलिस अपनी रिपोर्ट दायर करेगी। उसके बाद तो न्यायालय का काम है कि, क्योंकि बहुत लंबा आपको पता है कि, और आपको क्या सभी को पता है कि कोर्ट कचहरियों का बड़ा लंबा प्रोसीजर होता है, उसमें फास्ट ट्रैक में भी 3 या 6 महीने लगते हैं फास्ट ट्रैक में चलाने के बाद भी। पर मेरा ये मानना है कि कुश्ती बहुत बुरे दौर से में है आज के टाइम में, और लगभग 4-5 महीने हो चुके हैं इस पहलवानों के प्रोटेस्ट को, तो जल्दी ही इसका कोई रास्ता निकलना चाहिए। और जूनियर बच्चे, जो सब जूनियर बच्चे हैं, वो भी बड़े एक कंफ्यूजन है और एक मानसिक तौर पे बड़े परेशान है सभी, क्योंकि कोई नेशनल नहीं, कुछ भी नहीं, सीधी ट्रायल और डायरेक्ट ट्रायल हो रही है पहलवानों की, तो उसमें थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन होता है। पर जो भी है कि जल्दी से जल्दी इसी का हल निकलना चाहिए, और पहलवानों को भी, क्योंकि ये जो पहलवान है ये भी अब एशियन गेम्स अगले साल ओलंपिक है, तो इनको भी तैयारी करनी होगी शायद।
तो इनका जो मेन डिमांड है पहलवानों की, वो ये है कि बृजभूषण शरण की गिरफ्तारी हो जाए। उनका मानना ये है कि अभी 6 या 7 महिला पहलवान सामने आ चुके हैं, उन्होंने कंप्लेंट रजिस्टर कर दी है, उनके खिलाफ जो शोषण हुआ था उसके बारे में डिटेल्ड पुलिस के साथ उन्होंने कंप्लेंट और FIR दर्ज की है। इसके बावजूद अगर बृजभूषण शरण की गिरफ्तारी नहीं हो रही है तो फिर कोई बड़ा आदमी उसको प्रोटेक्ट कर रहा है। क्या राजनीतिक कारण की वजह से उसको प्रोटेक्ट किया जा रहा है?
देखो, ये तो पुलिस FIR दर्ज हो चुकी है, 1 महीना हो चुका है, उसको पुलिस अपनी इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर रही है। कहीं कुछ पीछे बताया था कि कोई भाई नाबालिग लड़की भी है, और ये भी सुनने में आया कि उसने अपना जो है वो केस वापस ले लिया है। तो ये तो पूरे अब अंदर की बातें हैं, क्या सच है क्या झूठ है वो तो नहीं बता सकते, पर पुलिस अपनी जांच कर रही है। और जहां तक मेरे को लगता है कि अगर पुलिस जो कुछ काम कर रही है, जो क्योंकि कानून के दायरे से बाहर कोई नहीं आता, और खासकर कोई पुलिस में होता है तो वो अपने कानून के दायरे में जरूर रहता है। कोई गिरफ्तार करने की बात होगी तो गिरफ्तार भी करेगी, पर यही है कि किसी ने कुछ गलत किया है तो वो जांच होनी चाहिए और सजा मिलनी चाहिए, दोषी को भी जांच होनी चाहिए कि जो भी प्रकरण हुआ है, जो भी ये भी इतना बड़ा ये पूरे देश में और पूरी दुनिया में एक खराब माहौल बना खिलाड़ियों कुश्ती को लेके, तो ये बड़ा दुखदायी है।
Okay, योगेश्वर दत्त, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। We'll see how this story plays out till the 15th. I'm now opening this up to our panelists. Pratik Shom is spokesperson of the JJP, which is an ally of the BJP in Haryana. Monika Mehrotra is spokesperson of the Congress Party. A.B. Subbiah is former Indian hockey player and Arjuna awardee. Ranjit Bajaj, ex-chairman of the Committee of Administrators of Indian Football. And Ashwini Nachappa, former athlete, is also joining us. Pratik Shom, as an ally, more than in fact an ally of the BJP, the fact is that there is pressure on your party as well, because these wrestlers, they hail from Haryana, they're the pride of Haryana, the pride of India. The fact that it's been a month and a half since these protests started, we've had a second 6-hour-long meeting between the sports minister and the protesting wrestlers. Why should they believe, and why should the people who are watching this saga unfold believe that by the 15th there will be some resolution? After all, it hasn't resolved in the last month and a half.
Yes. So, Zaka, there are 3 aspects to this whole controversy. One is the allegation part, which has already culminated into 2 FIRs. Another aspect is the investigation, in which if Delhi police will find any evidence, they will certainly file a charge sheet. Third aspect is the prosecution part, which will happen in the fast track court as mandated under our constitution, and court will.
Let me now bring you some roundup of quick updates that we are getting on the broadcast. We're starting with the RBI Governor, Mr. Shakti Kanta Das. Now, Mr. Shakti Kanta Das has stated that India's inflation will be influenced by the dynamics of food prices. In the light of easing inflation, the repo rate was maintained at 6.5%. GDP growth has been projected to be at 6.5% for financial year 2024, with an inflation rate of 5.1%.
Real GDP growth in 2022-23, on the other hand, turned out to be stronger than anticipated and is holding up well. The policy repo rate has been increased by 250 basis points since May last year and is still working its way through the system. Its fuller effects will be seen in the coming months.
Hajj pilgrims have embarked on their journey. More than 40 flights will be ferrying 8,000 pilgrims from Hyderabad to Jeddah, followed by travel to Mecca for the Hajj ritual. Men were seen wearing ihram while the women donned the burqas amid the boarding.
यकीनन हमारे लिए बड़ी खुशी की बात है कि आज एक बैच पहला बैच आजियों का जा रहा है अल्लाह के फजल करम से इंशाल्लाह तेलंगाना हुकूमत हमेशा ही हमारे सीएम साहब आजियों की खिदमत के बारे में एक ही बात कहते हैं आज ही अल्लाह के मेहमान हैं उनकी जितनी खिदमत हो सके हम खासतौर से अब साल कई बरसों से तेलंगाना स्टेट सारे हिंदुस्तान में नंबर 1 तरीके से पोजीशन से हाजियों को भिजा रहे तमाम हाजी भाइयों को दिल की गहराई से मुबारकबाद देता हूँ अल्लाह ताला यकीनन उन्हीं लोगों को बुलाते हैं जिन्हें वो याद करते हैं.
On to news from Uttar Pradesh now. The killing of Sanjeev Maheshwari aka Jeeva has brought the spotlight back on the Atiq Ashraf and his brother his murder case. In fact, there have been many similarities in both these cases, but the bigger picture is that of Mafia Raj in the state of UP that has been a reality for decades together. CNN News 18's Anvit Srivastav travelled to UP where these gangs flourished. We track their past and their present and if there is any future for their so-called empire. Take a look at this exclusive ground report that Anvit has filed for us.
From a time when abduction for ransom, murders, attempt to murders on victims, pressurizing them to withdraw cases against mafias and even rape of women of the families that did not follow such orders were common in UP, to gunning down of 183 criminals in just last 5 years. Is Uttar Pradesh witnessing a significant yet dramatic crackdown on the Mafia Raj? What do senior police officers have to say and how the people of the state see such actions? What is the current state of Gunda Raj in the badlands of UP? We are in the state to find out the ground reality.
This is the spot where Atiq Ahmed was killed. Just meters away is a motorcycle repair shop run by a 50-year-old man who claims his daughter was raped by Atiq's men. The man, who was then thrashed beyond imagination to withdraw the case against Atiq's men, now believes he can expect justice for his daughter.
बीबी के मारे हमको पाइप से, राइफल से, कुंदा से और राइफल के वो बेट से मार दिए थे. फिर उसके बाद हमारी अंगुली तोड़ दिए, सब तोड़ के इसके बाद कहीं तुमको हम जान से मार देंगे.
In Uttar Pradesh, it doesn't take much to find a person who can narrate his or her face-off with the mafia. Rani, who lives in Prayagraj, has an equally frightening story to tell.
कहे जो है तो जैसे तुम्हारे पति नहीं आए उसी तरीके तुम नहीं दिखाओगी अपने लड़का बच्चा का भला चाहती हो अपने बच्चों के और अपने तो चुपचाप बढ़ जाओ जमीन हमारी है.
In the most dramatic way that one could imagine, Atiq and Ashraf are now gone. But the police officers who have first-hand experience of dealing with Atiq and his men say that terror, domination and political clout that this gang once held was indomitable.
1990 में एक थाने में एक दरोगा को पीट दिया. उस पे पुलिस इकट्ठा हुई, एसपी सिटी गए, वहाँ घेरे रहे, सारे स्थानीय विधायक इकट्ठे हो गए अतीक के फेवर में और फिर लखनऊ से संदेशा आया कि पुलिस को पीछे हटना पड़ा. वो जो है अतीक के माफिया के इतिहास में वो टर्निंग पॉइंट रहा.
Despite testimonies highlighting the mafia's reign of terror, legal representatives of these criminals have a different opinion to offer.
अतीक अहमद जो अशरफ जी के ऊपर जितने भी केसेस लगे थे सब अधिकतर केसेस पॉलिटिक्स वाले केसेस लगे हुए थे. राजनीतिक जो है विद्वेष के कारण जो मुकदमे लगे तो वो मुकदमे चल रहे थे.
न्यायालय के सामने रखते हैं कि साहब इससे तो कुछ होगा ही नहीं और अभियोजन पक्ष पता ये चलता है कि अपने बचाव के लिए उनके खिलाफ कोई प्रतिकूल टिप्पणी न हो सके इसके लिए कहते हैं गवाह समर्थन नहीं कर सके उसके डर भय.
The top cops of the UP police beg to differ. Talking to CNN News 18, Special Director General of Police Prashant Kumar says they have moved mountains to bring the mafia under control as they continue tirelessly to combat crime in the country's most populous state.
The government, right from the very beginning, gave a mandate that the government has a zero tolerance towards crime and criminal, and they give us a free hand in breaking the economic empire of all the big mafias.
Will such encounters continue? Will law and order become one of the key factors in the next UP elections? Or will such a stringent action give rise to a new infantry of mafias? Or this is the final phase of Gunda Raj in UP's Badlands? In this special report with video journalist Vikas Rawat from Uttar Pradesh, this is Anvish Srivastava for CNN News 18.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Another provocation by Khalistani elements sitting in Canada. Just days before the anniversary of Operation Blue Star, a parade was taken out by Khalistani sympathizers in Brampton City of the Ontario province. A tableau depicting Indira Gandhi's assassination